I'm Jason Waller here with Jason Waller Unleashed. That's right. The fastest growing social and culture podcast right now on Apple. We are hitting the top 30. We are super excited. I've got an awesome, funny, fucking hilarious guest here today. Bringing it real, bringing it raw. My man, Shaun Jones. How you doing, baby?
What's happening, Super J?
Hey, listen. You just got here and it's fucking raining and windy.
You made me come out. You good to make a black man come out in this kind of rain.
Did you ride a tornado or something to get here? Because that shit's crazy out there, right?
Yeah, it's windy, it's raining, but I couldn't miss being with you and your aliens.
I appreciate it. I got aliens, man.
Yeah, so all white people got aliens.
And listen, you know what it is? I think I have this belief, not to change the subject or anything, but we're going to have to talk a little bit about aliens. Right. I watched this older white lady, Dolores Cannon, who passed, who had this theory, which just stay with me because I want your opinion on it, then you can make fun of it all you want.
Right.
But that all of the cultures and societies, Aztec, Mayans, Egyptians, all praised and prayed to some kind of sun god that came down from the sky. You'd agree?
Right, yeah.
And that those were angels or aliens that came from God down and planted the seeds for life and then came down and gave advice but still left it free will. And even Jesus was part of that.
Right.
What do you think of that theory?
You sound like you were saying the aliens was hoeing. That's what it sounds like.
Well, yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, they was hoeing.
Nah, but you know what? So crazy. You know, it's such a gray area, but I would think as a human being to be so arrogant to think that we're the only beings in the universe that is, astronomical numbers. It has to be other life forms out there, and which the same way that we go into space, why would they not be able to travel as well? So I don't know the whole alien theory or where I really stand on it, but I'm not as arrogant to think that that's just it's so far-fetched that aliens exist.
I catch a lot of shit because, like, you're saying Jesus is an alien. I'm like, I'm not saying Jesus looks like Zara.
Exactly.
I'm saying he came from space or God and had special powers, and he was an extraterrestrial.
We don't know because we can believe in other things, that is, that's more questionable, but we can't believe because it's just like people tend not to want to think. They don't want to think for themselves.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? So, but I mean, I don't have a real opinion about aliens.
Yeah.
But I would say that I would believe that there are beings out there other than us.
Yeah, I would agree, and I'm glad that you agree with that. So, see, even some black people believe in aliens. Maybe not a lot. You don't disagree.
Right. You ain't going to get me kicked out of the hood.
That's right. They're going to be like, what the fuck's he believe, right?
They ain't got them damn aliens and shit, man.
We'll have to send you home.
I got some big-head cousins that,
maybe they pass.
Yeah, man.
They look like that one or this one.
I got a cousin that look like that, man.
That's funny. Yeah. So
he can't wear a hat.
For the listeners and the viewers out there, that's fucked up. You can't wear a hat. I tried to put a hat on these guys that didn't work.
He had to wear a prescription hat. That's a big ass head right there, bro.
Mom's all fucked up. Walking bow-legged for a long time, I'm assuming.
Right. Yeah, that'll tear up a coochie right there.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So, listen, for the listeners and viewers out there, you were telling me the story of how you went out and started doing comedy 30 years ago.
30 years ago, man.
And you just knew. So talk about that so they know.
Well, of course, leaving school, I tried college. It wasn't for me. Yeah. I went and got the T-shirt, so I can say I was alumni.
Got the pencil.
Right, got the pencil, got the bag grade. But no, it was that I was, trying to climb the corporate ladder. And I had a lot of friends who were in comedy, were, pretty well-known comics at the time because I'm from Jersey. Yeah. So we had one of the first black-owned comedy clubs in the country outside the Comedy Act in Atlanta. So I knew a lot of comedians, and I had one comedian friend was like, man, I always dress. I went to Catholic school. Yeah. So I always wore suits, I always wore ties. I felt comfortable that way. And he was like, man, you sharp and you're witty. You say some things that are real witty. He said, you should try comedy. I was like, man, I'm climbing up the corporate ladder. And there was a workshop. I left Jersey and I went to South Carolina for a short time to Charleston, and they had a comedy workshop. And I went to the comedy workshop, became friends with the guy, Tony Kemp, who was my godfather in comedy. Yeah. Went to the workshop, took the workshop, and the first time I stepped on stage was pretty much the last time I worked a regular job.
Wow.
I've had, the pandemic, I had to do something, but that's a whole nother thing. But other than for 30 years, I've been doing this full time. It's crazy. And when I stepped on the stage, even though it was something I never aspired to do. It was nothing that I said, okay, when I grow up, this is what I want to be. Of course, you like the Eddie Murphys and the Richard Pryor's, but nothing that I thought that I can do. But when you step into your purpose, you'll know what it is immediately. And I stepped into my purpose and not knowing that that's what God had ordained for me. And it was just, I've been here. And even through the struggles, even through the pandemics, and now where I am, it's worth the road traveled, And
you have been doing it a good while.
Right.
And you've had a lot of experience. What was it like to prepare that first time? Right? Because the preparation now, this is just my assumption.
Right.
I've never done stand-up comedy. I probably would be fucking miserable. I don't know. I'm told I'm somewhat witty, but I don't know how I'd react up there. I'd say some wrong shit and they'd cancel me in a heartbeat.
Because we're in cancer culture now.
Exactly. But I've done motivational speaking. I've been on stages. And I know that feeling of when you're able to move the audience and you're able to have their attention, and that feeling of I'm making a difference in their lives at this moment.
You got them in the palm of your hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so over time, I don't have to prepare. I go out there and fucking wing it.
Yeah.
Tell me about your first time. How did you prepare? And then now what do you do?
Well, it's funny because I would write down everything word for word. And I have to tell you, it's funny now because I was in my hotel room, and this was back before Dion Cole was Dion Cole.
Okay.
And Dion walked in my room, him and Kenny Howe, another comedian friend, and I had little cue cards. My entire room was covered with jokes and cue cards, every single word. And Dion was like, "What the fuck is this, dude?" He was like, "Dude, you don't write a joke like that." And Dion helped me change my structure in writing jokes. But in the early days, I would write down everything in my entire, and that's a bad habit because what it is, just people in general, they don't give the person that they're talking to enough credit that I can tell you this much information and you can basically paint a picture yourself. We feel as though we have to spoon feed everything. So
you're overdoing it. You're over preparing. Is what you're doing.
Well, you overpay. Cut the fat off. I tell get from point A to point B as fast as you can. So where I am now, and it's like, first of all, I have bad habits now where I don't write, and it's because it's just like you. It's like Allen Iverson. We're talking about practice.
That's right.
We're talking about practice.
Shit.
You're talking about writing. You're talking about writing, but it's something that you should do. And I'm trying to train myself to get back in there because now you're getting your brain to work a little bit more by preparing. And there's some nuggets that you might miss by just kind of having the premise and creating and hoping that you remember, because you forget a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But I have bad habits now, but back before I was writing down everything. And I tell new comics, cut that fat off. Give the audience the benefit of the doubt that once you give them that the setup, which is, the draw them in, that they are, you can paint a good enough picture from just basic stuff that you don't have to sit there. And then I walked over there and I grabbed the cup with my left hand, and it's like, come on, who gives a shit? Some stuff is not necessary. Cut the fat off. So
and that takes time and experience.
It does.
But then you get complacent because you're like used to it.
Right.
And then it's like, all right, well, I'm kind of using the same shit. I better be. For comics, I would have believed you got to be super creative because you can't say the same shit somebody else said. For motivational speakers, you can take somebody that says, like, I like to say, it's not one day, it's day one. But somebody else will be like, make it now, not later. Like, whatever. It's easier to hijack Chinese style and change some shit up on motivational stuff. That's fucking hard as a comic.
Right. And some comics just don't give a shit. They just think that they change a couple of words and it's a completely different joke. But for me, the one thing that I like to do when I'm talking to new comics, I'll say, don't go for the obvious. That can is sitting there. And if you give 10 comics, you say, make a joke about that can, 9 chances out of 10, at least 3 of them will come up with the same exact joke. But look past that. Look and see what's more in it, kind of take that can and put it into a whole nother situation, or look at it from a different perspective to come up with a completely different punchline that is not as obvious, or talking about aliens, not something that is obvious, talking about his big head. You think of something that you look past. So let me just give you an instance. Sometimes I go all over the place with things. It's like I used to be in the retail business. I used to run a tie store, tie accessories. But one thing, people would bring in suits, and it'd be like a gray suit. They say, hey, I want to match up a tie with this. So you would think, oh, burgundy or blue, but if you look at the suit pattern, there's a fine line, you know, like a pinstripe of a yellow that you really can't see with your naked. You got to really look at it. And so I'll pull over a color and they're like, what the hell are you doing? And when I lay it against the pattern of the suit, now that color that wasn't so obvious now stands out. It's like, wow, I never saw that. That's the way I approach my writing of material, where, yeah, you looking at it and you see gray, but if you look a little deeper, you'll see different colors in there that you would bring if you brought to a person's attention. They didn't see it until you brought attention to it. You know what I mean? So I guess that's the best analogy that I can kind of use to describe my writing style of comedy or suggestions that I would give to people.
A lot of comedians, I think, at least what I envision, is they're telling real stories that happen to them in real life.
We embellish on some.
You embellish,
right.
But you're being vulnerable, right? You're telling shit like, look, like my daughter, we were talking about this before, my daughter Hannah is like, I think I wanted to be a stand-up comic, but I'm a girl and I'm a single mom and all these things, right? Really? I'm like, I don't give a shit. Right. She's the funniest girl I've ever met, dry humor, but she tells a story just on this podcast about her shitting herself. Like at the mall, shit comes sliding down on the damn sidewalk. She's with a new friend. She's pretending it's her kid. She tells the story. Right. Someone like that, like for her to write jokes would be harder, but to tell real stories. Do you have a lot of your real stories? Are there comedians that really stick to jokes and then comedians that stick to stories? Is there a blend? How does that work?
There's a blend. It depends. Some are storytellers, some are one-liners.
Because I feel like Kevin Hart is a storyteller.
Kevin is
Dave Chappelle's more of a one-liner.
Right. Well,
or maybe
Dave
in the middle.
tells stories, but he twists them.
Right.
Dave can, like, you'll think you know exactly where he's going.
He goes the complete opposite way.
That's what I'm saying. That's that fine line in the material that you didn't see. For myself, I do some observational humor, things that I've seen during the course of my travel, my life. I do things about my life. I kind of exaggerate some things, but it's sort of like a blend. I don't really consider myself a storyteller. I can't tell a long drawn out story, but if there are some, I do have punchlines that make you got to keep people's interest
because you'll lose them.
Yeah, exactly. People have short attention spans now because of that idiot box that we walk around with, the one that we look at on the wall and the one that we carry in our wallet. And now they went from, remember we had long stories, and now it's like anything over 30 seconds, man, you gone too long. You know,
crazy.
I never knew that. Now it's at the point where women like 30 seconds. So now I'm a stud.
and you don't need any medicine anymore for that shit, right?
Exactly.
You said put that cream on them and it'll last longer. Now it's like, no, it's a race.
I can give you a strong 30 seconds, girl.
That's all you might need, too.
I let my head hit my ass. I tell my wife, look, I can give it to you. 30 seconds.
Oh, shit.
But nah, it's like with her joke. That's funny. That's when you know there's a different type of love for your child. Like you're willing to throw your child to the wolves. You blame. That's the only time that a parent will throw their child out there. Yeah, the baby shit it, not me. So when she's talking about shitting, there's so many different angles that she can go with that.
Yeah, and she's excited. She loves comedy, and so she's
so excited she shit on herself again.
Again, right. And it's so to hear some of that. We were just talking earlier also about the Kevin Hart and the Katt Williams.
Yeah, man, I'm so sick of it.
But it's only brand new. It's only like a couple days old.
Honestly,
you probably get 50 text messages about every hour.
I do. I just got a text message just before we started.
What do you think? What the fuck, right?
And for me is, my thing is, and someone said, keep it in-house. There's a lot of things that I know about some very big comics, but it's not my place to put it out there. Why do you need to know that?
Yeah.
If there's certain things that if we have issues, why won't I come to you first? You know what I'm saying? It's just, but there's a strategy. There was a strategic.
It's a marketing.
Yeah, it was a marketing for Katt. I might be wrong, but I think I can kind of judge things a little bit. It was marketing. He did exactly what he set out to do, and he's brilliant for it. Nobody was really talking about Katt as much. And now everyone from Hollywood to I watched a white comic that basically was like, I don't even know who these people are. I just happen to know Katt Williams, and I want to give my take on it. I'm like, what? Like, this dude doesn't even know it has reached that far.
Yeah.
And now when you hear Katt Williams is coming to Detroit or Chicago or Charlotte, you going to the show because you're going, what else is he going? Who else is he going to talk
This was only on Shannon Sharp's show, right?
Yeah, Shannon Sharp.
It blew his show up. His show's new because he left the other guy. It's like a home run for both of them. They both needed this. It was the perfect storm.
So he can say, Skip, I don't need you no more.
That's right. It sounds just like him, too.
And I can do a little bit of Katt Williams, so we got some of both on here today, sir.
Wow. I like when he's talking about insurgents. You know, when he came out, that... what was that one called? It was Big Pimpin' or what? No, what was
the
it?
First one, one of the first ones.
Yeah, that was so good.
Katt is a
After that, it
person.
started to fall apart for me.
Yeah, Katt loves Katt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, who doesn't love themselves?
Right. Yeah, but some of us go a little bit further.
I'm guilty as charged. I love myself a lot.
As you should, but you know, Katt is brilliant. Honestly, he's intelligent. He's you know, you can tell by his vocabulary,
His demeanor, everything. He's very smart,
very confident, very smart. So he's a different kind of creature.
Who'd win the fight, him or Kevin Hart?
I'm not even gonna say.
Yeah, my money's probably going on Kevin Hart because he's been lifting weights. But
so
here's
the thing. Here's the thing. I know both of them. You know, I know Kevin more than I know Katt. Katt and I, we did Comic View back in the day when he was Cat in the Hat. In New Orleans, and when I lived in LA, I would see him in the airport every now and then. We would talk, you know, hey, how's it going and all that, and he would definitely tell me, I got this going on with NBC, ABC, FBI, CBS, all the initials that he can come up with. Katt had something going on with him, but I just laughed at him. But that's about the extent that he and I have a relationship. Kevin is different. You know, Kevin is my boy. You know, I spent time with Kevin. We hung out. He come to Atlanta when I was living there. Hey, we going to the club. So I can be a little bit more favorable for Kev just because I know Kev as a person.
Right.
I don't know. It'd be like Rocket Sock'em Robots. That's what it would be if those two would fight. You know, it's like two cats on top of a wedding cake fighting.
Oh, jeez.
Because they're like four.
They're both like 4'10".
Yeah, man. It's like watching preschoolers fight. Like at the end, they will get nothing but some Tonka trucks or some blocks to play.
You know, Dana White should sanction that. Just go ahead and make a fucking fight out of it. People pay for that.
But Kevin is a household name, and Kevin won't tarnish his image. See, the thing is, okay, this is, and once again, I make this clear. When I say stuff about people, I make sure it's clear. This is strictly my opinion, my take. There's not any truth or lie in this. It's
just an opinion.
It's just my opinion. Katt, kind of, shitting on Kevin because he's a plant. They created him. Well, that's what Hollywood has always done. They went and got Richard Pryor. They went and got Eddie Murphy from New York. You know what I'm saying? They got Richard Pryor from Peoria, Illinois. They got, Red Fox from East St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? They got these. So how he became, everything he was doing on the East Coast, and now all of a sudden he has a movie deal in LA. That's normal. But here's where you're not giving Kevin credit. Okay, let's say that Hollywood did make that avenue for him. He still had to maintain that avenue.
He had to perform. He had to deliver.
And what he did was he took Dane Cook's format, where Dane said, I got 1 million followers, but I didn't know what to do with it after that. Kevin perfected that. He studied. He's committed to excellence.
Yeah.
And I wish I had an ounce of his commitment to things, because that's why he's where he is now, because he doesn't let anything, knock him off track. And when he does it 100+%.
Yeah.
So how could you be mad at him? Maybe he didn't take the road that you traveled.
Right.
But you have to stay relevant. There are comics that started with me that are no longer doing comedy because they didn't have a game plan. They wasn't committed. They didn't have some of the necessities that they needed to maintain this career. Here I am 30 years later, and it's just your preparation for whatever it is that you set out to do. So for Katt to kind of try to put Kevin down because he was a quote unquote plant, okay, but he couldn't maintain, and he damn sure couldn't get to the level that he's at now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's some plants that are still at, they're at, waist level.
Yeah.
Kevin is in the stars, bro.
Yeah. He's next level.
So, yeah, Kevin wouldn't fight him.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, look, it could be a big payday for fun, shits, and giggles.
Yeah,
but
man.
yeah,
But you
Dana
think
White
Kevin,
puts those things together. They were talking about putting Elon Musk and Zuckerberg together. Remember, that was supposed to come out.
That's a special ed fight right there.
That would be a special. They have to wear mouthpieces and shit.
Right. Yeah.
Two things. One, I think, and this is just my opinion,
Right.
And I don't know either one of them. I like both of them. I've watched both of them. I think it's a case of what's the best way. I go back to Machine Gun Kelly.
Right.
I go back to Floyd Mayweather when he used to be Pretty Boy Floyd. What's the best way to get famous? You get people to hate you.
Right.
Or you talk shit about somebody, 50 Cent, and then they talk shit about you. So Machine Gun Kelly called Eminem out. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? He puts a diss record back out. Machine Gun Kelly skyrockets, right? Who the fuck is Machine Gun Kelly? Well, because Eminem talks shit about him and everybody wants to know him. You go to Floyd Mayweather, best fighter we've ever seen in our lifetime.
Yep.
But when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, nobody gave a fuck.
Right.
He was boring. He went out there, he did his little shoulder roll.
Right.
He wasn't selling fights like crazy. He was Pacquiao as everybody else. He goes out there and creates his own brand. Genius. Like, to me, he's the fucking smartest marketing person I've ever seen. He creates his own brand and becomes a heel and burning cash and fucking smacking
Walking
strippers in the ass and
all this money in the
talking
bag.
all this shit. Fuck you. Now every person's like, I want to see that motherfucker lose.
Everybody's walking around with TMT hats and stuff.
But people want to see him lose. They hate him. Like, fuck
exactly.
him. And they're paying for that. And he's okay with that because he's like, dude, I'm fucking getting paid. Right. So I think that's a case of that. And I think it's a case of he's a hater. He's very envious and jealous.
That he didn't make it to where Kevin.
Well, yeah. So when I heard him, I was listening to what he was saying on that thing. And I felt like he's lost his goddamn mind, right? Oh, but this is me saying, like,
this,
oh my God,
again, this is
he's talking way out. What the fuck? Tell Steve Harvey's doing that. Like, I'm like, okay, he's doing this to be relevant, which is very important, and relevant gets you paid. So it doesn't matter how you get there. If you're relevant, you're relevant. But two, also, there's just some craziness going on and just some hate. My brother, who I love dearly, my success is his failure. So what does he do? Any chance he can talk to anybody about anything, begging to come on my show? I said, hell no. All he does is land blast the craziest shit in the world.
Right.
Kind of like those homeless people that have taken drugs and they talk to themselves and they just randomly say schizophrenic shit.
Right.
That's kind of my brother sometimes. That's how I feel this is going on. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I feel like it's a mixture of that.
I think it might be a mixture of that. And this is me, I'm looking from the outside in. Katt has success. He does very well on his tours. So if there is a form of envy in there, I'm like, why? Why would he have
your journey's your journey?
And your journey's your journey, as well as you're living better than, let's say, 85, 90% of comedians. So yeah, you might not have 10 million, but is it bad to have 5 million?
Yeah.
Because there's some people who got 500. Right. So you know what I'm saying? So if what you're saying is true, it's sad because you have no reason to be envious. I can be envious of Kevin because Kevin used to come do guest spots on my show when I worked at the Lab House in Philly. Every time I see Kevin, he inspires me to work harder and to do more. When I see Katt was on Comic View with me. A lot of these guys, from the Samores to the Bill Bellamy's to the Ricky Smiley. Ricky Smiley used to stay at my house. I used to stay at his house. I met my ex-wife, in which I probably shouldn't speak to Ricky after this. No, I'm just bugging. But I met her through, at his comedy club in Birmingham. Ricky and I we travel together now. So, but all these guys have somewhat surpassed me or have more of a successful career than I have had. Doesn't make me envious. It motivates me to say someone who sat in my space, someone who I communicated with, and
it shows you the opportunities available.
You can do it.
You can.
Somebody from your neighbor. If your next door neighbor became a millionaire, he experienced the same things that you experience day after day in your neighborhood. If that person was able to put together some kind of game plan that catapult them into another category financially, you can do it. It's all on you.
It's true. It is all on you. And listen, things have to align, right? And I always say success isn't money and success isn't fame. Success is happiness.
Right.
So if you're in your spot and you're in your lane, you're fucking happy. There are people that are making millions and billions that they'll fucking jump out of a building tomorrow. They hate their life. Man. So success is happiness.
And that's the key right there. And people, because they watch and listen to what everybody else, they think success is the money and all that.
It's not.
I am successful because I'm happy.
That's exactly right.
When I can take off days like I'm taking off this week because it's my birthday and spend time with my
birthday.
family. Thank you.
How old are you? 29?
Black don't crack, but it will buckle. It'll buckle. But I'm 54.
You look good for 54.
Thank you, man. Yeah. But when I don't have $1 million, but I have enough where I don't have to chase the bag.
But you're happy.
I'm happy. And I truly mean that. And it took me a long time to get here. It took me a lot of heartaches.
We all have to grow up and realize what makes us happy, right? And I see it. I had a company that was worth $1 billion, $1 billion.
Isn't that crazy?
Lost the company, cost me $400 million. Had to start over, lost almost everything. Right. Mortgage my house, sell cars, start over. Right. Rebuilding, got two companies doing really well.
Right.
Getting into coaching, doing things. It was a wake up, but it was like, I've always loved being around people that are more successful than me,
right,
and around people that aren't, because I like to bring people along for the ride,
right,
and I like to chase something that I want to be like, wow, I love, like you were talking about, man, that inspires me.
Right.
I love to be inspired of people being successful. It's like, wow, but then it realizes this isn't all the success.
Right.
This is what I was living for, this success. I'm never jealous or hateful of people being successful. That brings me joy because that shows that the path is there. You were just talking about it. You want that for people. But most people in today's life, most people in today's world, they are jealous of people's success. They're on that little box going, their life's better than mine. They're envious. They hate. They destroy. They pull down.
Yep.
That's the shitty thing.
And you know why? Because they don't live by 2 words, accountability, responsibility.
Amen.
If I want more, and I say this truly, and these are 2 words that I truly live by, if my bank account is not to my liking, I have to take accountability that I haven't done the things necessary to put more money in there. Yeah, I can say, well, my boss, my job, well, you still had an opportunity to set those situations straight to put that money in there. Now that you know that I'm accountable for where my checking account is, it's my responsibility to do whatever it is that I need to give me happiness in this particular, place in my life.
Yeah.
That's what people do. If I'm doing what everybody else is doing, if I'm putting the blame on everybody else, I never have to look at that man in the mirror and blame him. It's your fault.
Right.
It's your fault. It's because I live here. It's because okay, let's make it clear that situations and
can make it harder.
Can make it harder.
Yeah.
But it's still
everybody's capable of coming out of the situation.
Every situation has a success. Dude, I got a little tongue tied there. Success story coming out of that situation.
Correct.
From Harlem to homelessness to
rape,
shot and damn near killed, raped.
Yeah.
Every situation has a success story. It's how much you want it.
Yeah.
And how much you're willing to put, how much you're willing to struggle. I heard a pastor said this, and I'm paraphrasing. He said, God will give you, he will show you the blessing, but he won't show you the road travel. Because if he shows you the road that you have to travel to get to that, 9 chances out of 10, you'll be like, nah, I don't want to do that. Yeah. He said, Joe, was it Joe, where the brothers sold him into slavery because they was jealous of him? If he would have went to him, he said, yeah, he told him you're going to be king one day. But if he would have told him that your brothers are going to sell you into slavery, and you're going to have a hard life
to get to that path,
he would have said, nah, I don't want to be king. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. People, the path in which they have to take is discouraging to them, and they don't, because they don't see past that.
Yeah.
They see where they are instead of where they're going.
And everybody has their own moments of stress and agony and hurt and depression and all of these things. And it's how you react to it is what matters. Right. And you can put on this fake facade for the world. But everybody's got real problems.
Right.
And I always say the better their profile looks, the more shit they're hiding.
Exactly. And let me tell you, anything worthwhile has it not been some kind of struggle involved with it? Before a butterfly becomes a butterfly, he has to be a caterpillar and sit in a cocoon and fight his way out. Little boy tried to cut a caterpillar out of a cocoon. His father stopped and said, no, that struggle that he's going through is necessary. You want muscles. You got to get in the gym. Is your body going to hurt? You can get surgery to give you these inserted muscles, but nevertheless, the recovery from the surgery is going to hurt. Everything worthwhile is going to come with some sort of pain.
They have surgery to have muscles?
Yeah. You never see these guys on there, they got the injector. The dumbest looking shit.
What if I could have some muscles?
But just anything. When people try to look good,
Botox.
I don't have to do the work. I don't have to get in the gym. I can get, the Brazilian butt lifts and all that stuff. the healing process is painful.
Yeah.
Nothing worthwhile will come without a struggle or pain involved, because once you get to that, the appreciation for what you went through will be far greater, and you would cherish what you have once you reach that destination. And that's what a lot of people just don't. I'm gonna say it straight. A lot of people are pussies.
They are.
They don't want to, they want the world, but they don't want to do shit.
Absolutely.
And they will grab onto anybody's coattail to get there, and then they realize by grabbing that coattail, they might get you there, but you ain't gonna stay there because you don't have the ethics, the work ethics for that.
Yeah, two things. Battles. We go through battles to get to blessings. I heard a pastor say something like that. And I just sticks with me.
Damn t-shirt.
Battles to blessings. You go through these battles to get to a blessing. That was the journey you were talking about.
Right.
And then, two, when you have people out here that hate.
Right.
And that are like that. And, I always say there's three phases of our lives where our mind and mentality is. And this is just my fucking opinion, but, I get paid sometimes to tell people this opinion.
Right.
There's A, B, and C. A is I'm a hater.
Right.
Everything you do successful is my failure.
Right.
I'm not where I'm at because of every fucking thing I can think of, every victim, every problem, because it's just not fair. The gray clouds follow me, right. Where I live, my parents, my skin color, my gender, my area, my education, my everything. This person doesn't, everything you can think of, that's A. We've all been there before somehow, some way.
Exactly.
We've all been like, oh, this is bullshit. And we've hated on others before. We've all been there.
Right.
B is kind of like Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson is in there, and you ever see he kind of creeps into the fucking trees a little bit?
Yeah.
So these people aren't haters, but they're insecure.
Right.
So then they see success, and they're kind of like, I don't know if I want to be around that, and they just hide. Right. So they don't really go and complain.
They don't believe
and
in
hate,
their strengths.
but they don't believe in their strengths. And we've all been there. It's kind of, you're intimidated. You're around people, and you're like, fuck.
Right,
First time I got to meet Barry Sanders, my childhood hero, and I do commercials with him, gone golfing with him.
Right.
First time I met him, I was like, fuck, it's Barry Sanders.
Right.
And then eventually I had to get over it. And, it's like, you get to that point. Then A is where you're a believer and you love to see people succeed. You're at a spot where nobody's renting space in your brain, right?
Right.
And you are, unfortunately, those haters, they're taking all... You're renting space in their brain. Like they're thinking of you the whole time. And to me, it's just motivating. And so I go out there and try to inspire and elevate. But on the other token, the more people that hate me, I don't read the fucking comments. Right. I just love it because I always say, get your popcorn, get your soda, get your licorice. I'm putting on a show, enjoy it. Because rather than you climb the thing in life and be happy, which is, happiness is success, I'm going to continue to worry about me and be like a racehorse and put the blinders on. What do you think about that? That's
exactly the way, those are the breakdowns of life and people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I live by A because I could just give an example from that, just the whole internet sensation during the pandemic, all these guys who, were able to work the system. Now they're selling out. They're getting dates in comedy clubs that I can't get. And I got 30 years in the business, and those guys can't, they can't come close to what I can do on stage. And, and I can be like, at first, of course, you're bitter. Like you said, you get that.
It's natural.
Yeah, that's
it's
my
natural.
spot.
Yeah.
But then it's like, now it's like, nah, bro. Like if they can do it, and I use these words loosely. If they can do it with less experience and talent than me, once again, that's something for me to say I can do that
and learn from.
Right, I can learn from it. Country Wayne said it best. I don't know if you know Country Wayne. Country Wayne said it best. He said, "Yeah, all you older comics are shitting on me, saying that I took the easy road. Well, if this road is so easy that I'm on, why aren't you doing it? I'll give you the blueprint. I'll give you the blueprint. Why aren't you doing it?" Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, he worked his ass off to get to where he is. Now he's a millionaire. I can't be mad at him. No. You know what I mean? Of course, we do a show. I might get more laughs, but once again, it's not like, I'm not in competition. See, that's the thing too. We tend to be in competition with everyone else, and you're so busy when you're looking to see who's on your side, you're not looking at yourself.
Yep.
If you got to pay attention to what's going on around you, I got to keep up with this guy. He's getting. You're not worrying about your lane. Now you're out of your lane.
Yeah.
And before you realize it, you off the track.
I know.
And that's the problem with people. Stop getting so absorbed in where you're not. Because if you had the power, and these are all cliches or different stories that we use. If God was to put you in that person's shoes and give you their blessings, you might fuck it up.
That's true.
And it might not be the life that you really want. So stay in your lane and wait for your turn. Your turn will come. Your turn will come. It might not be the way that you envisioned it. It'll come. It took me 30 years to get to this kind of thinking. And I was at the point where I wanted to walk away from this, man. I was depressed, and I couldn't see the sun for the clouds. But I stayed the course, and I took the beatings, and I took the divorces, I took the bad relationships, I took the depression, and it's all worth it. If I had to do it again, exactly the same way. Probably wouldn't marry the same person, but no, I wanted to see that.
Settlements are done on the divorce, I hope. Right? Yeah.
But I joke about that stuff,
right.
Because
okay.
We had our good times, but then we had where we weren't compatible. My wife now is great, so I'm glad that I went through that, because now
you would have never met her.
I would have never met her. I wouldn't have gone the path that I'd gone.
You talk about competition. We compete with ourselves from yesterday.
Yeah.
And sometimes yesterday kicks our
ass.
Yesterday personally for me, I blew up on my son and fucking embarrassed him in front of his friend, was motherfucking him in front of his friend. He's 13 because he had an attitude. I'm like, hey, listen to this. And he's a quarterback and he starts smarting off and he's getting loud. And I'm like, dude, fucking, you don't get the fuck out of my face. And I lost him. My wife's like, what the hell? I'm like, I don't want to fucking hear it. I'm like, send your fucking friend home. Then this morning, I'm like, fuck. She's like, well, you weren't your best version yesterday compared to the day before. I took an L. Right? Sometimes you take a fucking L on the day.
Because you're human.
You're human, right? But the point is
you're not these guys.
I'm like, these guys are after the apocalypse is what we look like, right? This is after nuclear war is what our skin looks like.
Exactly.
So, but I say this because when you just talked about everyone's trying to compete with themselves, everybody's guilty of that. But if you just focus on, I got to be better. I got to be a better Shaun today than I was yesterday. I got to be a better Jason today than I was yesterday. And if you just keep it simple, like 30, 60, 90-day goals, not a year goal, not a 5-year goal, 30, 60, 90, maybe 180. That's what I've always done. It's how I'm able to build companies fast. I keep it small goals.
Keep it
so I'm in the moment.
Simple.
Right. but then I'm challenging myself and not getting stuck in that other bullshit because it's fucked up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's such an easy format.
Because I see other companies crushing it, and I'm like, selling their business. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, okay, look.
Yeah.
That's their journey. I got to relax. Like, I just got to do mine. This is mine.
I see it all around me, like once again, I look at Kevin. I started before Kevin. Kevin used to come to do guest spots and all these different guys.
But it takes a good, hard, strong man to be able to do what you're doing. And be like, I'm good with this. That's fine.
And I can tell, once again, I can tell you these things, but I know the truth and God knows the truth. And I'm so cool with it. I got a guy who used to open up for me, Shula King. And Shula used to open up for me, and now he has 1 million followers on Instagram. He's selling out everywhere.
Yeah.
I call him. I tell him I love him. I'm happy for him. Whenever Kristen Johnson, who's another comedian here in Charlotte, he used to host my shows. He too has 1 million followers. He's traveling all over the country, working every week and selling out clubs. I'm happy for those guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I truly mean that. When he hit 1 million, I call them. I put a message out there so they can see it, so the world can see it.
Yeah.
And I don't have any envy. Yeah. And I'm glad that God gave me that mindset to not have, because like when I'm sitting there by myself, sometimes like, damn man, I know I got to be more dedicated. I know, but it's still based on me. I might say, damn, he got 1 million followers. I should have 1 million followers. I'm not saying fuck him. You should have 1 million followers. You haven't done what you need to do.
You said accountability and responsibility. I love that.
I try to instill that on my son, just accountability, responsibility. You take everyone out of the equation because the power lies within you.
Yeah.
You never want to give, I tell people, you never want to give somebody else the power to make you something that you're inspiring to be.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? Because they hold the strings. They hold the controls. But if you take everything yourself, you hold the control. You say, okay, I'm going to put it full throttle to do more. I'm going to put it back on cruise control. But when you have someone else holding your strings, you don't know when the fuck they're going, you don't know what they're going to do.
I know.
So you at somebody else's, disposal. Nah, I don't want that. I want full control, other than God.
Right. And control's important.
Right.
So let's loosen it up a little bit.
Yeah, that was kind of serious. This is therapy.
But you know what? I don't mean it to be therapy.
Is
but
this covered by my health plan?
It might be, motherfucker.
I'm a black man with health coverage.
What kind of health coverage you got?
I got auto insurance. If I get COVID, I got to get my car and run into a tree to see if I'm covered.
Holy shit, that's great.
I finally got, man, you can't tell me nothing. Let me tell you, when I got health insurance, I got everything checked out.
Did you really?
Yep, I just found out I'm pregnant. I went and got me a Pap smear, Pabst Blue Ribbon, anything any kind of Pap, I went and got it.
All the Paps.
All the Paps. I went and got a prostate exam. I was so excited. I was in the weight room. I stuck my finger up my ass before the doctor. I was trying to warm it up for him. Like an old car.
Holy shit. Yeah. I was going to ask you to tell me a great joke, but shit, you just keep going. It's fucking great.
And let me tell you so I always say this, like people say, what are your pet peeves? My biggest pet peeve is someone to walk up to me and say, tell me a joke. And I say, if I was a proctologist, would you ask me to stick my finger up your ass? Because, because people, I think comedy, outside of doctors, I think we're the only profession that people think that instantly you're on or instantly I can request you to clock in. It's like, motherfucker, I'm a civilian. I'm not working right now.
Right.
And I'm just not a jokey type of guy. Like what I just said. And, I don't do that in a way where I'm trying to be funny or my brain is really distorted. And some of the ideas that come out of my head are just like
fucking crazy.
It's fucking. And I tell people say, what's your first joke? It was years before I did comedy. I went to Catholic school. Okay. St. Anthony's High School in Jersey City, best basketball school in the world. Bobby Hurley, Terry DeHare, and all those dudes. I went to school with those dudes. Danny Hurley. When UConn last year won the national championship. But anyway, so I went to St. Anthony's, and we had sex ed, which is crazy. Catholic school, we had sex ed, and it was taught by a priest. Who better to teach about sex than someone who vowed never to have sex? That's a good fucking idea.
Oh, my God.
So we're in sex ed class. And the topic for that particular day in class was masturbation and ejaculate, whatever. So oral sex. So there was a girl, I won't say her name because if any of my classmates, I put this on social media years ago, and my classmates jumped on it and was like, oh yeah, I remember that day. That was such and such. I'm like, dude, don't put her name out there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so one of the cutest girls in class that everybody wanted to bang her. But she was very skinny. Like she was so skinny, like she had ankles up to her hip. She was like a fucking
She had a case of no ass at all?
No ass. She was built like a blow up doll, but didn't finish being blown up. You know?
Yeah.
They run in front of the dealership. But anyway.
Yeah, this stuff.
Yeah. So she raised her hand and she said, Brother Ralph, this is I promise you, I had no intention of being funny. She raised her hand. She says, Brother Ralph, if you're giving a guy oral sex and he ejaculates in your mouth, can you get pregnant? That's something I can't make that up. I kid you not. If you're giving a guy oral sex, he ejaculates in your mouth, can you get pregnant? I'm writing in my pad, and my brain said, say this shit. Don't think about it. Just say it. I said, nah, you'll just have baby teeth.
Oh, my God. You said that in the class?
The entire class erupted. And I was just, and it just made sense. It was logical. And Brother Ralph, who's a priest, and he reminded me of the Flanders, whatever, the next door neighbor with the mustache.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, Shaun. And he looks at me like sternly, and he turns his back, and all you can see is his shoulders going.
Giggling.
He's crying. He's literally crying over this. Now, he's a priest. He's supposed to keep
his composure. Yeah. He couldn't do it. It's too funny.
That was the first. And people like, yo, we knew. And they say, we knew right then that you were going to be a comic. Like, no, you didn't bullshit because you never, you guys never came to a show. But,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's how my brain works, bro.
Yeah, that's fucking
That's
hilarious.
logical.
That is logical. That's funny as shit. I mean, no, you just have baby teeth.
You just have, he ejaculates in your mouth, the sperm is in your mouth, you'll swallow it, you'll have baby teeth.
I mean, and that was like how long ago? Like what, 30, 40 years ago?
Shit. I graduated 87. I can't do the math. 1987, I graduated. This was
13, 24, 37 years.
Damn, you really gonna count it out and let a brother know how?
I'm good at math.
What's my social security number? Roman numeral 2? I'm old as shit.
Nah. Yeah, you said it doesn't, black don't crack.
But it buckles.
What does that mean? Define
like
buckles.
Shit buckles.
Shit does buckle. You're right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shit, it starts to droop a little bit.
I suck at telling. Well, I have one joke, and you're probably going to think it's stupid. All right. So, Shaun dies, right? You die.
Right.
And you're pissed that you're dead because fuck, you did everything right. You drove around in a van that had windows and you didn't give out candy. You voted Republican. You paid your taxes. You did all the things you were supposed to do.
Right.
And you go to the devil and you go, dude, I don't want to go to fucking hell. I'm supposed to be in heaven. The devil says, no, Shaun, listen, it's not that bad. Do you like drinking? Shaun says, fuck yeah, I like drinking. Have you heard this joke yet?
No.
Okay, great. So he's like, fuck yeah, I like drinking. So the devil says, all right, well, great. Mondays, all we do is fucking drink. Shaun's like, hell yeah. I'm excited about that. He goes, all right. Tuesdays, we smoke. You like smoking? He's like, fuck yeah. You said, yeah, I like smoking. Good. We smoke weed. We smoke everything. Cigar, everything you can think of. Tuesday, we do nothing but smoke. Shaun says, hell yeah, I'm excited about that. Devil says, Wednesdays, we do drugs. You like drugs? Shaun's like, fuck yeah, I like drugs. Great, we do ecstasy, we do cocaine, we do everything on Wednesday. It's a fucking blast, you'll love it. Shaun's like, hell yeah. And he's like, all right, so you homosexual? Shaun says, no. He goes, you're going to fucking hate Thursdays. That's the joke I got.
That's cute. That's good.
I say that at the poker table sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Just before you take everybody's money?
Just before I take their money.
You're the devil.
Yeah, but that's a decent joke.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good joke.
You hate Thursdays.
You can kind of see it coming. I knew something was coming. One of those days.
Yeah, because you know this, so you can see the setup.
You know the writing. Yeah, you know the writing styles. You know that it's the misleading, and then it's going to come back around. Yeah, but that's a cool joke to tell people.
It's funny.
Yeah,
it
you
works.
can tell it to very religious people.
And see what they say.
Jehovah's Witness, when you come to the door on a Saturday morning, you should tell a Jehovah's Witness that joke. That'll keep them out your yard for at
They'll
least 2
never
months.
knock again for a while, right?
Exactly.
For a hot minute.
Well, they might come back for Wednesday or maybe Thursdays. You never know.
They probably would. They won't come for Thursday. So what do you've got going on? Where can everyone follow you? I know you talked about Valentine's, which I am going to come to the show, so we'll connect after this.
Yes.
But talk about what you've got coming up and how people can start to follow you.
Well, I'm on all social media. The one I use most is I use Instagram most, and I use Facebook. I have YouTube, but my name is Comic Shaun Jones, which is SHAUN. I didn't go with the W because that's extra for the 2 U's together, so I went with half the W. SHAUN, Comic Shaun Jones on Instagram. Facebook is comedian. I think it's Comic Shaun Jones as well. You can put it in there.
Yeah.
YouTube is Comic Shaun Jones.
And we'll have everything listed too.
Yeah.
What shows do you have coming up? What do you got coming up?
Well, I have I don't say a residency. I have somewhat of a residency at Harris Casino in Cherokee, North Carolina.
When do you go there next?
I just came back yesterday. I was there this past weekend.
I gotta go soon.
My next weekend there is the end of February, the last week in February, because I have a full calendar for February. And then April, I kind of space it out now because last year I was killing. I was there Thanksgiving, Christmas. I was there so much.
That's a great spot. They've built up on it. It's great.
It's a beautiful casino. It is amazing that it's in the middle of nowhere, really, on a reservation.
Driving up that mountain and going all that shit.
That's what I said.
This is crazy.
I said going up there for like the little man on the Price is Right, like
it's so wild.
Yeah, man, but it's to get a black man up that high, because we don't even like getting on top of bunk beds,
Yeah.
But it took me a while to drive up there, but I got that going on. I have my comedy special. It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That just came out recently?
It was out the middle of last year.
Okay.
Yeah. I have mixed emotions about it. A good friend of mine directed it, did a great job, but we kind of had our differences on certain things, and it wasn't everything that I wanted it to be.
So if you could rewind time, would you have waited and perfected it a bit more?
I would have done things differently.
I have a reality show that was supposed to come out in January.
Right.
And we just talked to the producers and our legal team because we have a lot of litigation going on with Generac.
Right.
And we're pushing it back. We only have a 3-episode pilot, but now we're going to do 8 episodes, but we're pushing it back towards the end of the year because I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. And people are like, you're fucking crazy. I'm like, I don't like the way it feels. I feel like we can do better.
Because as an artist, Erykah Badu said it the best. We're artists and we're sensitive about our shit.
Yeah.
And it might look okay to you, but for me, it's not. I'm a perfectionist, and if it's less than perfection, I rather not put it out and start from scratch or let it sit for a while than put something out that that I'm not, and that's where we are.
Yeah.
So people who watch this say, "Oh, it's pretty good," but not. See, what I put out on stage, I try to make sure people don't leave out saying, "Oh, he was pretty good." They leave out there like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I've heard some of your clips. You're fucking funny.
Thanks, man.
Hey, you're funny.
But
obnoxious, real, raw, and funny, and I love it.
Right.
But I love that. That's relevant. You don't want to be boring.
Right. And it's like when you watch, but if you watch the special, like, oh, it was good. And that makes me feel as though that the best me wasn't presented in that special. And it's, like I said, it was a blessing to be able to make it. The things I have to take accountability for is the fact that I picked the wrong location. I picked Minneapolis, Minnesota, because I used to have a comedy night there. And it was so much stuff going on that weekend. We had to pull people in. When you pull people in, that's not your audience. And I had to pull people in. So anyway, I have that special going on. My social media, I got tour dates I'm going to start putting for 2024. You can see shit from the past. Like I said, 6-7 years of Comic View, one mic stand, stars,
Who's your favorite 3 comedians, or can you not say because you're boys with everybody?
Yeah, I don't really have. Mine go back. Well, they don't know me, or they're
Who
dead.
are the 3 that you look up to right now, or you feel like are your mentors? Everybody's got mentors, no matter where they are.
So you want to do the noun and do the past? Like,
do that.
So
the
noun, I look up to Kevin. Kevin work ethics.
Yeah, you said that.
Amazing.
Major work ethic.
Dion Cole is I love Dion because Dion,
I'm trying to remember who Dion Cole is.
He has a couple of specials on.
I think I've seen him.
Netflix. He's in the deodorant commercial. The black guy with the curly. He was in. Did you see The Harder We Fall? The Harder They Fall?
Yes.
He was the guy, the sheriff with the gold teeth that got knocked out by Idris Elba. Dion is a good friend of mine, and I mean, his special is what I inspired. His special was shot here in Charlotte, and I mean, he's phenomenal, dude. His storytelling. He wrote for Conan as well.
Okay.
And, so Dion Cole is a good. Who else? There's so many, man. Damn, I can't even think of something because it's just too many. Like people that I know and I work with, they just I give them their props. Like Bill Bellamy, good friend of mine. We came from the same neighborhood.
Love him in that one movie, by the way.
How to Be a Player.
Love that movie.
Yeah, me and Bill traveled right after the pandemic. We were here in Charlotte. We started off here and we were rolling. We both from Newark, New Jersey. Bill's storytelling is phenomenal. Some more.
Everybody from Jersey tells us they're from Jersey like 50 times. Is that part
from
of the
Jersey? Yeah,
yes, I'm Jersey.
Just in
it's
case you didn't
Jersey.
remember.
It's Jersey. Yeah.
You heard of Jersey?
Yeah,
we're from there.
Yeah,
both of us.
I have a buddy of mine that's from Whitestone or Brooklyn, New York.
Right.
He's the whitest Puerto Rican you'd ever meet. If he was here today, you'd see he works for me. He's president of the company. He wears flip flops with khakis. He has to tell everybody.
So he's not from New York anymore.
No, but he always talks about I'm Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican.
Boricua, like that.
Right, and he's pointing to his tattoo, and he's fucking as white can be, and dresses like a fucking white geek
until he goes to Brooklyn.
Until he goes to Brooklyn, he changes it.
Watch how he changed. You should go to Brooklyn with him one time to see how he's different when he goes home. Yeah. That's how my wife is. She's from the Bronx, and she's black and Puerto Rican. So I got a lot of shit going on over there, man.
Yeah,
but,
and she goes back and changes.
Yeah, it's like she still has a lot of Bronx in her, but yeah, it's like I honestly. I define more with the South now. I've been out of Jersey. I got to go home next week. 4 days, I'm done.
You're a Cowboys fan too.
Cowboys, yeah. I don't do Giants. Fuck
Lions are going to come fuck with you guys, though.
Hey, come bring it, baby.
They're bringing it.
Dak got it. Y'all got to worry about CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee is the man.
CeeDee's good.
He's definitely a pleasant surprise, man. To wear that 88, people don't realize what goes into that 88. You have to go in front of Drew Pearson. You got to go in front of Drew Pearson,
Michael Irvin,
Dez, and Michael Irvin to be able to wear that number. He had to meet with them for them to give them okay to wear 88.
That's crazy.
Because that number, think about it. Everybody who's worn that 88 has produced. See, I started with Drew Pearson and Tony Hill and Roger Staubach back in the day, and then came along Michael Irvin, the triplets. Oh my God, Troy Aikman and Emmett. And
by the way, Barry's a little better than Emmett.
You think? Yeah, well.
Yeah, he's better.
Barry was he's just a different creature, man. But the front office destroyed him. The Lions destroyed. If he would have gone to another team, Barry would have played 15 years. He would have played.
I don't think he would have. His head was checked out of it.
Well, his head was checked out because, like he said, if you watch his documentary, I had nothing to play for. I saw a team that...
Yeah, if they were in the playoffs or a better team, he probably would have stayed on.
Because he was producing you the NFL leading rusher and you still going home without a playoff. It's like, why am I doing this? It now becomes a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you don't have a payoff from your hard work, you're putting everything. And I get the minimum salary. Think about it. If you had a job, a career, and they gave you the minimum salary, as much as you love it, you get burned out. You'd be like, I can't do this shit no more. You wouldn't be excited to come in there, But I decide I'm all over the place when I talk, man.
It's okay.
But comics of the past, Jerry Lewis. I love his how physical he became. He led himself way before Jim Carrey. Way before Will Ferrell. All those guys. I just love Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin movies. You know. Of course, Bill Cosby, because he knows how to drug people. Not bullshit.
Yeah, but he was hilarious.
His storytelling, like you're talking about someone who painted a picture, and you felt when you would actually see when you saw his children for the first time. It's like, holy shit! You had this picture in your head that he painted, that you knew exactly what his family looked like. You knew exactly what Camille looked like.
Yeah.
And all the Enos and all the so that's talent. And then you have Richard Pryor, because he took all his demons and he made himself vulnerable, as we talk, and he didn't care. And
he was so talented. Richard Pryor was probably one of my favorites.
I'm reading I got his book right here now, and as a matter of fact, that's funny. Pryor Convictions, man.
Really?
This book right here. Look at that.
Oh wow.
This book right here, man. It's so amazing, because it tells you all the downfalls, all the dark moments that Richard Pryor had, and how he became who he was.
Yeah.
And that was a lot, man.
Remember that movie Toy with him in it?
Oh yeah.
I was a little kid then. I watched that movie probably 100 times.
Yeah, I know, right? But how about that? Yeah. Only white people
couldn't make that fucking movie. Hey, by the way, you can't make that movie now, right?
Right.
That movie would be fucking banned.
Right. This, like, how obnoxious are you?
The guy from the mafia, from Godfather,
right,
is buying Richard Pryor to play with this kid.
Right.
But there's a funny fucking movie though.
It's funny as shit.
Because he gets so pissed at that kid too.
But once again, the writing of that script didn't even take into consideration how racist or how irresponsible of a script, because it was just entertainment.
Yeah.
You didn't look at it as white people buying black people. It was entertainment. Yeah. That's the difference of the temperature that we were in and where we are now.
Which is crazy.
Because you brought it to our attention. Now we have to take the Christmas song off, "Baby It's Cold Outside."
Isn't that crazy?
Nobody get this song was made in 1946, I think it was. Maybe he was. Of course, he was trying to get some ass,
Yeah.
But it wasn't. He wasn't date raping. He wasn't being.
It's just that the world is fucking crazy.
Because if you bring it to my attention now, and I'm looking at those little fine lines that I didn't see.
Yeah, on that suit. Yeah,
and that suit. You're just looking at this suit as a gray suit. You're saying there's lines in there. You got to look deeper. There's line, and now you're like, oh, this suit is not just gray. Now you got a problem. Fuck all that, man.
Yeah.
And there's certain things that should be addressed. You have to change your thinking. We kind of got in an argument last night about the renaming of Fort Bragg with a military guy.
What he said?
Well, basically because it's called Fort Liberty now, because Fort Bragg was one of the generals, I guess, who was
the Southern Army or whatever.
Southern Army, who was, and it was just like certain things you say, okay, well, I know what it stands for you, but it's insulting to a whole group. So let's just remove it, just for the sake of, we're not going to lose anything by it. Let's just
change the name.
Change to something where everybody can appreciate.
Yeah.
Not like the fucking Washington, whatever the fuck, the Commanders now. Not like that bullshit. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Commanders were fucking...
Right.
What were they? They were the Washington football team.
I would have rather them keep the Washington football team than the fucking Commanders. That shit sounds like the first season of the USFL.
They haven't changed Florida State Seminoles. The fuck's going on there?
Right. We still got Jeep Cherokees.
Still got Jeep Cherokees. That's a great fuck. What the fuck?
That's always I'm saying. I'm Native American. I'm part Cherokee, part Jeep. But it's just, once again, I know we have to address some of the elephants in the room.
Yeah.
But every elephant in the room is not a racist or something that's demeaning or something that's belittling.
I think people that make things bigger than they are create the problem.
Of course.
Like worse. Like if there's no reason, like you talk about, like when you start to create an issue, like when you're assuming there's something that's not there or something that's extreme that's maybe not here but somewhere else, and now you're pouring it or vomiting or projectiling it to everybody else, you're making a line.
Right.
And I always tell my kids this. When you make an issue out of something that's not an issue because you think it's an issue, now it is an issue and it wasn't until you brought it up.
Right, and now it's your issue.
And that happens all the time.
Yeah, man. This is
It happens in race. It happens with, transgenders and gay people. It happens in politics. People go and projectile and vomit something that is so extreme and really probably not appropriate of what people are thinking.
Right.
And now they just made a line of separation and they keep separating the country.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is, man.
Fucking crazy to me.
You can't talk about shit,
I feel like it's worse now than it was in the 80s and 90s.
It's horrible now. Like I said, Lenny Bruce and all those guys, Lenny Bruce, Joan Rivers, who was I telling you about? Don Rickles.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been able to make a career out of entertainment because they just, and like I said, I don't know, people don't really know Joan Rivers from that perspective. They know before she passed, her and her daughter had the fashion show thing on ETV or whatever it was. Don Rickles was, the older guy in the movies. People don't really know Lenny Bruce unless you really know comedy. He was a white guy who just, he was raw.
Yeah.
He talked about everybody, but those, if they,
and I'm okay if you talk about everybody.
That's my point.
Talk about everybody, you're equal.
And here's a problem I have, and I'm just using them once again. For people who's watching this, I'm just using this as an example how convenient your stance is. You'll sit in the audience, and I'll talk about white people like a dog.
Yeah.
And I'll deal with the black stereotypes.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the church people. Talk about gay people. You're homophobic. Why the fuck wasn't I racist talking about white people? Why wasn't I, Uncle Tom or whatever when I was talking about my people?
Yeah.
Why wasn't I, atheist when I was talking about religion? But now I hit something that you represent. Now I'm homophobic. I hate gay people, like based off of a joke.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's convenience. That's convenience. You know what I mean? It's okay to laugh at everybody else. I watched you laugh at everybody else, every other joke in here. But when it got something that hit close to home, now you want to label me. I tell people, I'm not smart enough to write a joke with hate in it. I'm just not smart enough.
Yeah, it's supposed to be funny, not hateful.
It takes too much thinking to, let me write this joke so I can make sure that these motherfuckers know that I hate them. I'm not that smart. If I would have been that smart to pay that much attention, I'd have went to fucking college and finished. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
That's just right because it's funny. I observe shit because it's funny.
Listen, and I love watching comedy that picks on everybody in the audience and that picks on everybody, whether it's whatever race or everything, safe. Right? Like, I love that. But I will say over the last few years, it's gotten so strict where black people can still make fun of white people, but white people can't make fun of black people.
I say it all the time.
It's kind of fucked up. It's like, dude, they're not being racist. They're fucking cutting up saying like,
But here's the whole thing. White people fucked up and black people are perfect.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is. Yeah. No, but I've always said that. But if I say that in my circle, man, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? But it's so true. It's like, the stuff that I say about white people, there's no hate in that. It's just my experiences, the stuff that I've observed. We do things a little differently. And when I do that in my show, anybody who's come to my show will let you know that I sum it all up at the end. Because I let you know that I'm making fun of you, but there really isn't any difference.
And you shouldn't even have to do that.
You shouldn't have to, but you gotta put that fucking disclaimer.
Have to put that disclaimer out.
You have to, man, because people are so sensitive.
I kept hearing fucking, what's his name? Chappelle was putting a disclaimer out before he did it. I'm like, dude, like, it shouldn't be that way. Like, you can choose not to watch this person speak. Like, I'm choosing not to watch it. I don't like it.
Right.
Like, then don't fucking watch it, but say what you want.
Right.
Have fun with it.
Because it's, it's
because the disclaimer takes points off the top. Right. It's not as funny now.
And what I say too during my act, I say, this one joke that I do. I say, if you talk about stereotypes, you give it less power. If you bring to light the different, like I'm just using this as an example. They say white people don't use seasoning.
Yeah.
It's just a joke. It's not 100% true.
It's semi-true.
There's some fucking black women out there that can, black people that can't cook no fucking potato salad either. But you know what I mean? But it's all in fun, and it's helping us to. If I can laugh at me, and I can laugh at you, and we can laugh together. You know what I'm saying? We can.
Right.
Now we have taken the tenseness out of the room. Now we can maybe talk about issues that are more. That needs more attention. You know what I'm saying? So if I can talk about your stereotypes and you can talk about mine, now our guard is down.
And the guard should be down.
It should be
because I'm
down.
Never offended. Like I'm the furthest from racist. All my friends growing up, I grew up in Arizona.
That's what the biggest racist say.
I know. That's why I said it. I said it to set myself up for that. Right. Yeah. I'm not racist.
Right.
Okay.
Some of my best employees are black.
Yeah. There you go. But I grew up in the West Coast, and color. There was a lot of black people there, but people didn't look at things in color. Right. When I moved to North Carolina, I was in high school, it was in 94. Right. Black kids were sitting at one table. Right. White kids were sitting at one table. Same thing with teachers. I didn't know where to sit because I hung out with all Hispanics. Right.
And they were behind the wall.
They weren't even here, but yeah, probably behind the wall doing work. So I was like, where the fuck do I go? No, you're good. So I'm like, where the fuck do I sit? Like, I'm like, I don't, and these guys had Chewbacca in their mouth and overalls and redneck, and I wasn't redneck. Right. And then the black kids didn't get along with the white kids. It was like, I got in fights with the 5 high schools, and it was like, I don't fit in here. I'm not used to this. I've never seen a divide, a line of racism. In Arizona, it wasn't like that. Like we had a group of people, and we didn't matter what color or race we were, right? It was different.
Right.
Different parts of the country are different. It's worse in the South.
Yeah.
Than it is in the North.
Well, I guess that's where it
is in the West.
Right. The North is completely different. Like my neighborhood consisted of Irish, Italian, Polish, black, Puerto Rican.
Mixed in. And then
we didn't have Mexicans.
Yeah. We do out in the West, though.
Yeah. Honestly, that's true. Like, I didn't know. I thought Mexicans were Puerto Ricans, but we had this name. Like the woman I called my godmother that lived across the street, Rena Kelly. She was Irish, drunk as a motherfucker. But my mother had to. My mother was a school teacher when she had parent teachers. She had to go somewhere. I stayed over here with her family. I ate dinner with her family.
Right.
We had Polish people over here. We all played football together. We played. It was like it was a different and I went to Catholic school. In grammar school, well, now they call it elementary. You date yourself when you say grammar school. In elementary school, I was the only black student, ready for this, in the school.
Ooh. From
kindergarten to 8th grade. In the school. Some of the most fun times I've ever had in my life. My best friends, we have half a days, first Fridays we had half a day. Yeah. We play football. We go to each other's house. Italian, Polish.
Didn't matter.
My best friend, Jason Mosca, stayed at my house.
Do you know why it was innocent? Because nobody was making it a big deal. Do you know why it's not innocent now? Because they're making it a big deal. You think that kid grows up hating other color kids or hating white kids?
Behavior.
No, it's taught in the home by creating the divide. I can't. It's sad.
Yeah,
it's sad.
They're bringing up that line in the suit. That's my analogy now. And and this is another thing that too. A lot of people see. I kind of think differently, and some of my thoughts might not be popular around certain groups. But I give racists get out of jail free card one time.
Yeah,
because how could if you grow up in this environment from a child, you grow up in this, and that's all you see, and you never have any encounters with black people. I can only fault you to a certain degree. It's like you didn't know, you didn't have, but at a certain point in your life, accountability, responsibility, where you know that there's something wrong with this because you see, now you have TV and everything else. You can see that you need to go out there and find out what is it that you're looking at incorrectly.
Right.
So sometimes, I just like, man, he's just ignorant. He just doesn't really mean harm. Like one of the most bizarre and enlightening experience was in West Virginia with the most racist white dude in the world, which was a moment that I always tell a story. What's the most bizarre story? I was doing a show in the butthole of America in West Virginia where the 3 states met. I was in Kentucky, West Virginia, somewhere. I don't know. Fuck, I'm bad with geography. We did a show at a Moose Lodge, and when we walked in, me and my buddy Paul Hooper, and he was a white guy with spike hair. We walked in, and there was no black people in this town at all. And I looked at Paul and said, "Yep, this is where it's going to end, brother. This is where we're going to die." And so he went up. We did the show. It was packed house. Did the show. I closed out the show, and I'm sitting at the table at the end. And I'm selling. I used to sell caricatures of myself that I got done on Muscle Beach in L.A. when I went out there. It was a artist, and I put them in frames, and I would sell them to people because my company was Funny Worldwide. So I would have me holding a big gigantic globe with all types of nationalities behind me, and I would sell these autographed. And so I'm at the table, and this white guy walked up. This motherfucker had to be. His social security number was Roman numeral 2. Like, he was old as shit. He was wrinkled. That you couldn't iron the wrinkles out of this dude. And he's all shriveled up. He said, "Hey, man, I don't usually take to your kind." I was like, motherfucker.
You're like this fucking
I'm like, I
guy.
have to fuck this prune up. So and he says, "Hey, I don't usually take to your kind." And he looked at me. He's like, "But you one funny son bitch, man. I fucking love you, man. You are the funniest son bitch." He said, "Anytime you come this way, I'm going to be right there in the front row, man. You made me laugh, man, and I love you for that." And I was like, whoa. My comedy made races, at least for 1 hour.
Broke the wall.
Broke the wall.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that man. He probably went and killed three black people after that.
Maybe.
But,
possible.
But for
West
a moment,
Virginia,
he's like,
possible.
yeah, maybe I should just drive by and yell at him. But you know what I'm saying? But that was a very profound and special moment to me because I knew that my craft at least made a person go, wait a minute. If I can make you go, wait a minute, I've done my job.
Yeah.
You know, so... Yeah, I give him because he didn't know anything different.
Grew up in the fucking caves of fucking West Virginia.
How could you fall into a certain degree?
They fucked their cousins and sisters and everything else. Yeah, we know.
But,
that's a great story, though.
Thank you,
man.
man.
You know, that where he could come and do that. That's cool.
Yeah,
you sounded just like those motherfuckers, by the way.
I'm a redneck, and down in my heart.
I'm sure. Well, I'm sure if you did, have you done 23me.com yet?
No. Well, my wife has done it, but I'm getting ready to do it.
You scared to do it because you got kids running around. You don't want to do it.
Yeah, I ain't got no kids.
All right, good. Me neither. So I did it. I did it and found out all the shit. I had a buddy of mine that thought he was 100% Sicilian. He's 12% Sicilian. He's like 80% Iraq. He fucking lost his shit.
Wow.
I thought I had American Indian in me because my mom's like, my grandpa is full and I'm half and you're a quarter. 0.
Really?
So I went and got her done. 0. And I said, Grandpa was a fucking liar. He wasn't your daddy.
Right.
Or, I mean, your grandpa.
Right.
Then... Fast forward, my buddy, we talked about Big Joe, Fat Joe, the whitest Puerto Rican. He thought he was all Puerto Rican. He's only 12% Puerto Rican. He's 40% black.
Wow.
Right? So I'm like, well, dude, you need to be pulling the black card, not the fucking Puerto Rican card right now. Like, go get a different tattoo or something, dude.
That's
Get some
hilarious.
right? So my point is nobody's 100% of anything.
Right.
So what I love about 23.com and me, or whatever you do, Ancestry, is it shows how we really are all brothers and sisters, right? So when you do that, people are like, I'm 100% this, they're not. My daughter's boyfriend, Hannah's boyfriend, Nate, he's here. It's the kid you just saw here, right?
Oh,
he works at our thing. He's worked for my other company too. Good kid. She's rocking a cradle a little bit. He's young. Good kid. He's mixed, but he's always like, yeah, I'm half black, half white. You know, he's pulling the shit. You know, when it's convenient, he's white. When it's inconvenient, on the other side, he's black. He pulls his card all the time. I'm like, hold on. And we fuck with him all the time. He goes and gets his shit back. He's like 60% white, 40% black. I said, so now you're 60% fucking hillbilly and redneck and 40% black. So you're only going to get favors from me 40% of the time.
So when you're sitting in your yard, you're going to call the cops on you.
Yeah. So
you got more white in you than...
Right.
It's a very peculiar guy.
So he got that done. She did that for Christmas for him. And so he saw that. He's like, holy shit, da-da-da-da-da. So
his penis is not as big as he thought it was.
Right, it's a little smaller. So it's 60% smaller.
60%.
He thought it was that. It's not, you know? So, and I was hoping to have some black in me because I thought from the waist down I was, but that wasn't the case.
Right.
I got zero coolness, dude. I'm fucking everything
cool
except black. I got nothing cool. It's like Irish, German, I got fucking Scandinavian, so I've got a little bit of Viking.
I'm about to say, you're cold. You're a cold motherfucker.
But I got nothing like, gangster cool. I was a little disappointed.
I'm curious to see.
You got to get it done. It's the coolest thing ever.
If you see my grandmother and her family, we got white. I got white.
Everybody's got something. Like you'll see that. Yeah, but like my wife's like 5% or the 3% black, and then some of my kids are percent. I got nothing. I got nothing. I got no Mexican. I got nothing. I was like, I eat tacos all the time. I'm like, can I have some fucking Spanish?
You're
I got
like
none.
Straight white guy.
Straight fucking like European and Scandinavian.
If we put blue lines on across your body, you'll be loose leaf paper.
Yes,
that's how white you are.
That's how white I am, which just kind of sucks. Like it's not that great. I was like, I wanted something cool.
Well. Nah, but at least you can hang in it when it's get cold outside. You're good to go.
Yeah, I get in trouble for saying this last stuff all the time is the way the DNA works is they have like Germans and French is the same blood.
Okay.
Okay. This is true. And then they have like Irish and English is the same blood. Then they have, if you're from Africa and or Egyptian and some of parts of
Asia
is similar blood, but then other parts of Asia match the American Indians.
Right.
So you start thinking all this. So my whole point is like when Joe gets Puerto Rican one, that's the same DNA as the Spaniards, as Mexicans, as all those other things. So really, if you think about it, there's only like 4 or 5 DNAs that then spread out to all these other countries.
Right.
That's what you find out.
Yeah, I mean, and what's the big deal? If you know what I mean, like for people to make a big deal, well, you breathing? You're a fucking human being, so why it doesn't really matter.
But I think it helps. I think if one thing...
It knows where you came from. Yeah.
If everybody could wear on their shoulder what their DNA was, their percentages that you get on the thing, that would be fucking amazing.
That'd be funny.
Because then maybe that guy that came up to you, he might have 2% of what he doesn't take with that guy.
You know what that motherfucker would have did if he'd have found out?
But my point is, dude, imagine if people had to do that.
God damn it.
Changes everything.
I'm going to kill myself right now.
Maybe.
Well, you're part Mexican, sir, so you might not want to shoot yourself. But stab yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I just, like I said, it sounds corny, it sounds cliches, but I'm just in a happy place, man.
It's good.
I don't have all the money that I want in the world.
But you're happy and you're successful.
I'm happy, dude. And I'm happy because now, my wife and I, we're right there. We were for so long. We're right there. And
that's great.
That makes me happy more than anything.
Does she come up to the show sometimes?
She don't fucking like no, she don't like my comments. She's like, that's not funny.
My wife doesn't even watch my podcast.
No, she didn't watch my special. We got into a big argument. I was like, you watch Country Wayne special, you watch Deion Cole, you watch...
She's like, I live with you.
She watched Monique, and I'm like, you didn't watch my special? I said, how was my... And she was there at the taping. But, but she's coming at the Valentine's show.
We're going to come.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing you there too, man. I'm going to bring you on stage.
I ain't scared.
I'll bring up the
on
whitest guy. This guy's 100% white.
1,000% white. If there's anybody whiter than me, they'll get paid.
In fact, he has mayonnaise in his pocket as we speak. Nah, but yeah, it's cool, man. Yeah, like I said, because now honestly, that's something that a lot of women don't understand is very important. I don't know if your wife understands that. Just the support of them, just a pat on the back from them, it takes us.
It's the wind beneath what you need. It brings it up, soars up.
We cherish their thoughts.
I know,
about us.
because you know why? Because we want it so bad from them. We get it other places to kind of feed that. And to get it from them just makes it. We don't have to go chase it elsewhere. I tell her that all the time.
But they don't understand that.
They don't because they live with us, and it's like, look, everyone else is kissing your ass, Shaun or Jason. I don't need to. I live with you.
But here's the flip side. You live with her, and you speak life into her any chance you get. That's the thing with me. She gets so she's like, okay, enough. All right. I'm like, no, I can't help it. I want you to know that you're the most beautiful woman that I've ever seen. I want you to know that you're the most brilliant. I'm going to say it every day, all day, not for any reason, but just because I'm going to speak life. Anything that you won't get from anybody else, you're going to get it from me.
True.
But they don't understand it. Like, give it back.
Yeah.
Give it back. Because I tell people, as a woman, you can tell your man he can climb Mount Everest in a pair of flip-flops in the rain, and that motherfucker be like, where are my flip-flops? I'm about to climb this mountain. But that same voice, you can tell him he ain't shit, and he'll be trying to slit his wrist with electric clippers.
Fucking true.
Your words to the man that cherishes you means so much more than any other being in this world.
Agreed. Amen. That's a good closure right there.
There you go.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
We went long.
We did. We did
go long with this hour 20.
It's all right. I'm good with it. So, hey, make sure you check out my man, Shaun Jones. Check him out. It's Comic Shaun Jones.
S-H-A-U-N. Comic Shaun Jones.
S-H-A-U-N.
Yes.
Jones. Check it out. That's a wrap. Bam!
Bam.